Hey guys, Button25 here watching the docking of Soyuz TMA 19M.
Good morning again from Mission Control Houston, and welcome to our live coverage today of the Soyuz spacecraft docking with the International Space Station. I'm Dan Hewitt. You're getting a look now inside of the International Space Station Flight Control Room here at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. Teams have since transitioned from launch earlier this morning. The Orbit 2 team now sitting here inside the room, overseeing the station as it prepares to double its crew size, with 3 crew members on their final approach towards the orbiting laboratory. Inside a Soyuz craft right now, the Soyuz TMA 19M, 3 Expedition 46 crew members. Tim Peake from the European Space Agency, soon to be the first British astronaut to arrive at the International Space Station. Veteran cosmonaut Yuri Malenchenko commanding the Soyuz craft on its ascent today, and NASA astronaut Tim Peake making his second flight into space and his second stint as an expedition crew member on board the International Space Station. Right now they are in the getting towards the final stages of their rendezvous and docking with the International Space Station, still several kilometers away, but closing fast. Pretty soon they'll be executing a series of maneuvers to align themselves with the docking port, the Rassvet module, on the Earth-facing side of the International Space Station before they ultimately dock. The docking is targeted to come in just about 37 minutes from now at 11:24 a.m. Central Time, 12:24 p.m. Eastern Time. That taking place just a little over 6 hours after launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. And that launch took place on time earlier today at 5:03 a.m. Central Time, 6:03 a.m. Eastern Time. But of course, over on the other side of the world from us here in Houston, it was 5:03 p.m. on a cold but not very windy day on the Kazakh steppe at the Baikonur Cosmodrome. Let's take a quick look at some replays from that launch, again done successfully just about 6 hours ago today. And liftoff. Liftoff of Tim Koper, Yuri Malenchenko, and Timothy Peake on their way to the International Space Station. So far, getting good first stage performance. The Soyuz delivering 930,000 pounds of thrust from its 4 boosters and single core engine. First stage of the Soyuz, 68 feet in length, 24 feet in diameter. It's going to be burning liquid fuel for the first 2 minutes and 6 seconds of the flight.
We can see that.
On board, everything continuing to go well. You can see British astronaut Tim Peake there, over in the right seat, in the center, Soyuz commander Yuri Malenchenko. Everything going well for the Soyuz craft as it continues its climb. The Soyuz already traveling at a speed of over 4,700 miles an hour. And this right here, actually a view from the International Space Station, getting an unprecedented view of the Soyuz as it makes its flight into orbit. And you can see the small jolt there for the crew members as the third stage cuts off and separates. The single liquid-fueled engine shut down and dropping away at an altitude of about 125 statute miles.
Unfortunately, I was in school, so I couldn't watch the launch live. Hope you don't worry about that.
And that again was some quick replays from the launch a little bit earlier today. That time of liftoff again was 5:03 a.m. Central Time, 6:03 a.m. Eastern Time, U.S. Standard Time. It took the Soyuz FG rocket just a little over 8 minutes 45 seconds to deliver the Soyuz spacecraft, carrying these 3 crew members into their preliminary orbit. Since then, in the last several hours, the Soyuz has executed a series of rendezvous burns, starting off with 4 what's known as delta velocity burns, basically just raising the Soyuz craft's orbit. Again, its initial orbit only about 140 or so miles over the Earth's surface. Now, just about caught up with the International Space Station, nearly 250 statute miles over the Earth's surface.
Reason they do that is if, let's just say, the engine...
This right here, a live view from the control panel found inside of the Soyuz TMA 19M spacecraft. Russian cosmonaut Yuri Malenchenko in the center seat, commanding the vehicle. However, today's rendezvous and docking should be automated per the nominal or the normal plan, using the Corps' automated rendezvous and docking system. In that small square on the left side of the command panel, you can actually see that's a camera view from the Soyuz craft itself. The International Space Station coming into view just beneath the center of the screen.
Copy.
Station crew and ground controllers reporting the Soyuz was in sight at about 10:23 a.m. Central Time this morning. So again, the Soyuz craft on a final approach towards the International Space Station. The next major milestone coming up is going to be what's known as fly around, where it'll basically spin itself and orient right along its final path towards the docking port of the Rossviet module on this Earth-facing side of the International Space Station, where this spacecraft is going to be docking and remaining for the next 6 to 7 months. And that fly around scheduled to begin in 9 minutes 20 seconds from now, so just about the top of the hour. But for now, everything continuing to go flawlessly with this spacecraft's trip today. Docking right now just a little under 32 minutes away per the normal plan, scheduled to come at 11:24 a.m. Central Time, 12:24 p.m. Eastern Time. The 3 crew members on board in high spirits. The first time in space for Timothy Peake from the European Space Agency, the first British astronaut to be selected as an European Space Agency astronaut. He's also going to be the first Brit to visit the International Space Station. He's joined by NASA astronaut Tim Kopra, making his second flight into space. And of course, there in the center, Yuri Malenchenko, one of the most veteran space flyers in human history, actually making his 6th flight. With this flight, he's going to eventually surpass 800 total days in space, becoming one of only 3 humans to actually reach that mark. The other 2, his fellow Russian cosmonaut Sergei Krikalev, the former record holder for most time in space, and Gennady Padalka, who became the all-time record holder a little bit earlier this year for cumulative time in space amongst humanity. So a return to his home in orbit for Malenchenko, and a return for Kopra as well, and first-time trip for Peake, who's going to become the 221st individual to visit the orbiting laboratory. Again, everything going smoothly with today's operations, continuing to hone in on that docking port, the Rossviet module, just a little over 30 minutes away from the planned docking this morning.
So everything is going good, so he's approaching as it should be.
Again, all of the rendezvous and docking will be automated using what's known as the Corps' rendezvous system. Antennas on both the Soyuz craft itself and the Russian segment of the International Space Station were checked out successfully just a few hours ago. All of that being done, returning successful results, so everything continuing to be on track for this automated docking. A docking probe sticks out of the very top of the Soyuz craft and very top of the orbital module. That'll go into the docking cone. We'll get that initial contact with the cone, and then following that, the capture, in which through that initial capture, the probe will retract, giving a more tight seal between the Soyuz craft and the International Space Station itself. Following that, a series of hooks will engage to lock the Soyuz in place, and then they will be locked in for the next several months. Following a successful docking, it'll take about 2 hours or so for the crews to perform all of their post-docking checklists, including leak checks between the two vehicles, ensuring there's a nice pressure or no pressure differential between the Soyuz craft and the space station itself before they prepare to open up the hatches. Hatch opening currently targeted right now for 1:25 p.m. Central Time, 2:25 p.m. Eastern. Getting reports from Russian flight controllers, the range now 700 meters and closing. Just a bit under 27.5 minutes away from the targeted docking time. Fly around scheduled to begin in 4.5 minutes from now. So again, just at about the top of the hour at 11 a.m. Central.
You can make out the ISS more clearly. You can see Kipo, Columbus. I'm going to guess that's the cupola, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Agate. This is Agate. The range is 570. We can see the MRM-1 docking mechanism very well.
But actually, I'm pretty sure that's
no
Russian.
issues,
Yes.
On the systems.
I'm confused.
Just a reminder,
we
the
can
Soyuz
confirm
today
that.
operating under the call sign Agat, which is the Russian word for a lustrous gemstone. It's the same call sign used by Malenchenko on his previous 5 journeys into space. Reporting they can see the docking module, the Rosviet module, at which they will be targeting with today's operation.
No, that's cupola, that's Quest there, which is the American airlock. Oh, there's Soyuz.
And the external cameras from the International Space Station getting the Soyuz spacecraft in view now. You can see it here on its approach towards the space station.
Agate, Mission Control Moscow. Go ahead. We can see the picture. 400 meters. Awaiting transition to fly around. Copy.
So the Soyuz under 400 meters and closing. That fly around should be coming within the next 2 minutes.
Prox mode, and we're starting the fly around.
See it
Copy.
roll.
Fly around.
See a roll maneuver taking place there.
And the Soyuz getting a bit of a jump on the schedule, starting the fly around at 10:59 a.m. Central Time.
There's Soyuz there.
Agate, MCC Moscow.
Отвечаем, Агата.
Go ahead, Agate.
Репортаж, пожалуйста, ведите по облету.
Could you please report as you go, guys?
Агата.
We copy.
Сейчас вот был разговор у нас по крену.
Well, we performed 2 roll maneuvers,
Закончился.
and we are done with the roll maneuver.
So once this fly-around mover is completed, the Soyuz will enter into what's known as station keeping. At that point, it'll be at a range just a little over 210 meters.
300, range rate is an audible 75.
There's been like
0.75.
24 minutes until.
Copy. 300
Docking.
for range and
Once in station keeping, they'll make sure the Soyuz is in its final alignment and fine-tune the path towards the Rosviet module. And once station keeping is complete, they'll get the go and they'll begin their final approach and head on in towards that Rosviet docking module on the Earth-facing side of the space station.
Агата, наблюдаем периодически срабатывание двигателя.
And Agate, we see that your thrusters
Смещаемся с
are working, are firing,
узла.
and we are moving towards the axis of the docking assembly. We copy.
You might be able to catch some thruster firing. You see
Everything
these little
continuing
white
to go
flashes,
well with the
basically.
Soyuz flight today. The fly around continuing again. Station keeping will be next up. They'll be roughly 210 or so meters away from the station at that point.
And then Tim Peake, first British astronaut, apparently. Oh, I type in Tim and the first thing that pops up, Tim Peake. That's a surprise. Timothy Peake.
Агата, наблюдаем выход
Agate,
научного узла по двум.
I mean, he's the
we
first
see
British
that
astronaut to
you're
be
in
selected
2
for
planes and
by the ESA.
that you can see the docking mechanism, and the range is a little bit further than 200 meters.
Наблюдаем смещение.
And we see that the crosshairs, that the station has moved
Батареи.
in relation to the crosshairs, and we are a little bit the crosshairs is moving a little bit
Есть сигнал.
in regards to the solar array, and we got the signal, flag. For final approach.
Так.
We confirm we see the roll maneuver, and
Oh, Jesus. You'll
the
actually be able to see the
crosshairs
fly past of the
are moving a
Soyuz.
little bit, but very slightly.
It might be a bit cloudy.
Soyuz continuing to align itself. The crew member's a little over 200 meters away from the station right now.
And
Everything's still on track, moving in slowly.
we confirm
Yeah,
Zavkon.
it's actually clear enough skies from the direction the ISS is coming from, so. So I might just leave this thing record and then head outside.
And we see that you are switching over. And Agati, you can activate the headlamp.
Nem csak ez ilyesmi,
Copy.
pont úgy fog eljönni, hogy
And we
látszik.
sent the
Tudod, mi
Command.
felejtünk, hogy látszik, és gondolom
See
akkor
the
lehetséges, hogy a Soyuz is látszik,
and the
hogy
flag is
közelít.
set for the
De elvileg
headlamp.
nincs felettünk annyira rossz idő. Mi nálunk
I got
itt
it.
éppen pont
MCC
nem.
Moscow.
Csak esett.
Go ahead.
Éppen arra így ment. Ez lesz, hogy ez 5 perc frissítve.
You have a go to issue the final approach
Let's
command from the approach display.
Let's take a look at this.
The command has been sent.
Есть причал.
We see pre-chow. Final approach command. We confirm.
And getting confirmation, final approach has begun.
And we confirm that we
11:07 a.m. Central Time, 12:07 p.m. Eastern. Soyuz TMA 19M now on final approach towards the International Space Station, beelining straight towards a docking with the Rassvet module. Yuri Malenchenko, Tim Peake, and Tim Copra on board, just minutes away now from a docking with the International Space Station.
0.80. The crosshairs are aligned with the docking mechanism, and we do not have any comments. Everything is nominal. We copy.
So I'm gonna just begin at 5:11. That will be 13 on my watch. So 3 minutes until the ISS rises, so to speak. That should be interesting.
Agate, could you please report? Because our picture keeps dropping. Okay, range is 120. And
Alright, there's Cygnus.
the range rate is minus 0.67. The docking mechanism is aligned with the SCAP periscope, and we do not have any comments. Everything is going nominally. We copy.
Soyuz spacecraft less than 120 meters away from its docking port to the International Space Station.
Yeah, that might be a bit of cloud from where the station is coming from, but we'll see.
It's eventually going to slow down to a very snail-like, only 1/10 of a meter per second, moving towards the docking port at the very final moments of this final approach.
55. Copy.
Oh, we're coming from that. Okay. No, no.
And the Soyuz coming up on 90 meters and closing.
Yeah, I'm going to head outside and take
Range
a look.
is 70 meters, and range rate is minus 0.34. We copy. Range is 70 meters and range is minus.
So the Soyuz 70 meters in closing, the rate of closure continuing to slow down. Again, it'll be at about 1/10 of a meter per second closure rate by the time of the docking. It's a very slow, very methodical approach for the Soyuz spacecraft, which just about 6 hours ago sat atop a rocket in the Kazakh desert in Baikonur.
We are
Now just
65 meters, the range
about
rate is
50
0.
meters away from the International Space Station.
See the target and the crosshairs are aligned. Everything is nominal. Copy. Crosshairs are aligned with the target.
Экипаж, ответьте в Москву в канале СГ-1.
Station Moscow, Space to Ground 1.
Сергей, по изображению на символе.
For Sergey and symbol image.
I'm just checking once again the ISS location. No, it's not in view yet, so you don't have to worry about that for now.
Дальность 50, скорость 0,21.
Yes, please, all right,
Шесть
here,
центр,
yeah.
кресты совмещены.
I was about to enter on the dark side of the Earth.
Crosshairs are aligned. We are at the range of 50 meters. Range rate is minus 0.21. The crosshairs are aligned and we see the target clearly. We copy all.
Экипаж, ответьте в Москву в канале
So,
СГ-1
just
для
about
Сергея.
okay. So I'm trying
Station
to guess.
Moscow on Space to Ground 1. For Sergey
Hmm.
and symbol image. Go ahead.
Thing is, I'm going to leave.
Наличие картинки на символ С.
Sergey,
What?
can you confirm that you are getting video image on symbol C monitor? Yes, we're getting the video. Range is 44 meters.
I got it. We confirm
And
that
0
the
decimal
fifth flag has been set.
is range
And we're
rate.
at the range of
That's,
46
information
meters
from my
and
uncle.
the range rate is minus 0.13.
Thank you very much, Sergey. And we're actually getting the images on all of the monitors. The laptop and symbol and so on.
Попадание было.
Copy, just we
Спасибо.
lost the video, now we have it back.
We are at the
That's
range
why we
of
wanted to confirm.
40 meters. We copy.
It should be on here already. This stage. Yeah, I'm gonna go outside. I'm just gonna check.
Ага, подходит дальность 30.
I got it.
Кресты совмещены, скорость.
Reporting. Crosshairs are aligned. We are at the 30-meter mark, and the range rate is minus 0.12. Once again, the crosshairs are aligned. Copy.
Continuing to get great views of the Soyuz craft as it inches its way towards the International Space Station. Under 30 meters away now from the docking to the Rassvet module.
Because it's not in view.
25, скорость.
I got the
That's
reporting.
Кресты совмещены.
Range rate is minus 0.13,
25.
and the range is 25 meters, and the crosshairs are aligned once again.
It's
Copy.
definitely too cloudy. Oh, there you can see the thrusters firing. A lot more than they'd usually be, in all honesty.
Soyuz continuing to close, just about 20 meters away now from docking.
Zooming, that's the signal to
Station, and the
solar.
Soyuz actually just about to pass over the United Kingdom, home to one of the astronauts inside that Soyuz craft right now, Tim Peake, the first British astronaut to make the journey to the International Space Station.
Mark.
Az nie
The range
astronaut.
rate is minus 0.14. Everything's going nominally. Copy.
Yes,
Да, я буду сейчас.
Unintelligible.
Агата. Получили обобщенную аварию.
it's backing up.
ДПО Б.
Agate.
Переходите на ручную.
It's gone. It's leaving.
Приняли.
What's happening?
Transition to manual.
Включили рут.
Okay.
We activated the route
Выдаем РОДК.
and send the
And so the Core's automated rendezvous, moving the Soyuz back, they're going to switch over to what's known as Toru, the manual controls, allowing Milenchenko to dock the vehicle manually.
Так, работа ДПО прекратилась.
we confirm that DPO thrusters have stopped firing,
Выполняем гашение
Oh, that's strange.
развертой скорости.
and we are performing the retrograde maneuver.
Принят.
We copy.
У вас выбор ДПО Б есть?
And we confirm that. Could you come again?
Выбор ДПО Б есть. Посмотрите.
We have you selected DPO B,
Находится ВСК, Юрий Иванович.
and the station is in OSK. We copy. OSK.
Сейчас выдадим стабилизацию.
Okay, and we are going to send the stabil command.
Стабилизация ВСК у нас есть.
And we confirm that we have stabil.
Крепкие руки. Файн.
So, no indication at this time why the Soyuz craft backed off momentarily. Right now it's at a range of 140 meters,
We are in the
but
manual.
getting confirmation that the manual controls
And we have
being
selected
activated, the Toru docking controls for the Soyuz craft.
route controller. Now send get 5 command.
Well, that's interesting,
Get
no
5
matter what you
command
say.
has been sent.
Ваша готовность выполняйте причаливание.
And on your go,
Принял. Скорость
please initiate final approach.
рекомендованная 0,2.
And the recommended
Принял.
delta V should be 0.2.
Так.
Copy.
Да?
Get 5 command has been sent. What did you say? Get 5 has been sent. Copy.
Юрий Иванович, как наблюдаете? Выключается скоростной узел.
Get 5.
So the crew on board the Soyuz working hand in hand with the Russian mission control centers in Koryov as they discuss their forward plan and options, looking like the Soyuz craft now continuing to push in on a docking. So the final approach resuming.
Copy.
Проконтролируйте команду F-17 включение.
Could you please monitor the flood lamp activation S-17 command? The flood lamp has been activated. So again, so we do not need to send it. No, we copy.
Набери на всякий случай Г-15.
And just in case, punch in get 15.
Oh
Get
God,
15.
that's looking off. That looks very off. It's not supposed to look like
Get
that.
15. Are you ready? I am. Send it. So, how is the vehicle behaving? Pretty well.
Выполните отход.
And now perform the retrograde maneuver. Copy. Retrograde maneuver in work.
Как управляемость по курсу?
How is the vehicle behaving on course?
Сейчас, проверяю.
Let me see.
Выдаем.
Okay, we're sending.
Да, есть срабатывание ДПО.
We confirm that depot thrusters perform the firing.
Next thing you hear, docking aborted.
So the crew right now testing the vehicle's controls, again working hand in hand with the Russian flight controllers in Mission Control Moscow.
Range rate, we copy.
Выполняем выход. Рекомендую отойти.
Unintelligible.
50 метров.
And the range rate, the range is 50, and please stay in the station keeping mode. Yuri Ivanovich, please report. We lost signal and we did not get any picture. No video at all. We copy. So we see the docking mechanism at the center, and we are performing the fly around of the docking mechanism. We copy. And now send the Get 5 command, please. It work. And
Okay. Actually, that back away was basically what I do when Metrips tries to docking phase miserably.
We did not see too much there at such a range, but once we get a little bit closer.
That's not good.
Too much interference, unintelligible.
ISS currently flying over Russia. Let's hope there's just some background noise of some kind.
Продолжайте выполнение дроблета.
Please continue with the fly around.
So again, right now the crew on board the Soyuz, still targeted at the Rosviet module. The automated docking was aborted, so now standing by for the forward plan. The crew working with the controllers in the Russian Mission Control Center in Moscow. You can see a balcony camera view here.
So what is the range, Yuri? What's your estimate of the range?
Сейчас наблюдаю.
Right now I see
Только ПВСК стыковочный узел.
only the docking mechanism in the OSK on the oscilloscope, and I'm going to move closer to the station, and we'll be able to tell better what's the range.
This is slightly unnerving. Because at one point the manual docking of a flood blade in progress ended up with said progress crashing into the mirror.
Агаты, вышли на
Agate,
выполняем подход.
reporting, we see the docking mechanism and we are performing the approach maneuver.
Стыковочный узел видим.
Do you see the docking mechanism? Affirmative.
ПВСК занимает стыковочный узел.
And
I am nervous.
how much of the screen does the docking mechanism take? I'm like, what's 0.75?
Дальность примерно.
So the range is approximately 120 meters. Copy. Yuri?
Появились.
Yuri,
ФГБ.
how is the vehicle behaving? I can see FGB. It's pretty good.
Управляемость контура ФГБ.
And I see FGB, and the range is about 100 meters. We confirm.
Сейчас вот вышли на стыковочный.
And We are at the axis, at the docking axis. We copy.
So Malenchiko reporting they're at a distance of about 100 meters right now from the International Space Station, back in that station-keeping position.
Range rate. Well, hold it at 0.
Where they just make sure that they're lined back up with the Rosviet module, still waiting on what the forward plan is going to be for the crew members, and that's going to be coming from the Russian Mission Control Center in Koryov, but very experienced commander at the sticks, Yuri Malenchenko. So continuing to stand by. They're camping out at about 100 to 120 meters away right now. The forward plan should be coming shortly.
And
the size of the docking mechanism is about 1 or 2 squares. And we are approaching, so the range is about 50 meters, guys. Affirmative. The range is about 45 meters, and we can see much better. Copy. And we can see the target already. And please go into the burn root mode.
Выполняю притормаживание и сейчас уже кресты видны, сейчас...
And we see the crosshairs, and we're going to verify our location in regards to the axis.
Тоже видим контур стыковочного узла.
We already see the docking mechanism, however, we do not see the target yet. We copy.
Нормально идет процесс сейчас.
Everything's going nominally. We are aligning the crosshairs, and the range rate is about 0.1, 0.2. We copy.
So the Soyuz once again approaching the Rosviet module on the International Space Station for docking.
That's unintelligible. That's okay. At the range of 3 meters, please perform station
I recommend to do the station keeping at the range of 3 meters and check the angles with respect to the station.
Copy, thank you. And the range now is less than 30 meters. We are verifying the alignment of the crosshairs, and we can see the target clearly. And what is the range, guys? Come again, Moscow? Could you verify what range you're at? It's less than 20 meters. Copy. It's 3.5 squares, and we are verifying the alignment of the crosshairs. We copy, and please, a reminder, guys, please activate the translation and hand controller pulse mode per your discretion. Copy.
The Soyuz video feed going to be losing signal shortly. Again, the Soyuz craft moving in manually for docking to the Rosviet module.
What is
the automated cruise rendezvous aborting, but manual docking is something these crews train for extensively using the tele-robotically operated control panel, or the TORU. Yuri Malenchenko, the commander of the Soyuz, at the controls as they continue to move in less than 30 meters away.
Approach burn. And the discrepancy between the alignment of the crosshairs is minimum. And please prepare Gap 5 command.
ISS flying over Pakistan.
You ready to send it? I am ready. VEP5, correction, VEP5 command, and we're sending the VEP5 command. In work, could you send it once again? Copy. VEP5 command sent. We do not have the flag up, and we also don't see the SSVP docking and transfer system flag up yet. Okay, now we see it. We got it. Okay, we see that the flag, SSVP docking and transfer system flag has been set. The misalignment of the crosshairs is minimal. We copy. Could you please report your range? The range is still 3.5 squares on the monitor, and the crosshairs have been aligned. Now we are performing in the stable mode, stabilizing the vehicle, and we are going to be ready for approach. Copy. All right, we are sending the approach command. The crosshairs have been aligned, and please perform docking. Copy. What do you want?
So everything is going on good, because that scared me. That definitely scared me.
All right, the size of the target is about 2 squares. We are performing a slight retrograde maneuver. And we confirm approach, and I confirm that the crosshairs are aligned and we are approaching the station. Copy, and you guys have about 3 seconds for approach.
I'm just waiting to hear something.
All right, the range is 3 meters. Copy, 3 meters is the range. Let's.
Soyuz very close now to Rosviet. We'll be relying on telemetry to hopefully get an exact capture time for you.
I'm just waiting to see if almost saw them with the course.
All right, we're standing by for contact. Copy, standing by for contact. Contact has been confirmed.
Great.
We confirm.
And the visiting vehicle officer here in Houston confirming contact and capture has occurred.
Great.
So Tim Coper, Yuri Malenchenko, and Timothy Peake now docked to the International Space Station at coming at 11:33 a.m. Central Time, 12:33 p.m. Eastern Time, while the station was flying 252 statute miles over the country of India. So again, contact and capture confirmed, 11:33 a.m. Central Time, 12:33 p.m. Eastern Time. Tim Kopra, Tim Peake, and Yuri Malenchenko now attached to the International Space Station.
We hear you loud and clear, please.
I'm going to end this video here.
I'm
about to enter 35.
Is that correct?
The manual.
Wait, actually no.
Docking mode and send Rodeca and activate route. Copy. We're sending the command.
How do you read, Sergey? Yes,
please send get for command in work. Get for command. Send. Greg. Like in Greg 4. Copy in work. G4 command has been sent.
Now we're standing by for a series of hooks to engage, and that'll perform a hard mate between the Soyuz craft and the station itself. But again, docking coming at 11:33 a.m. Central Time, 12:33 p.m. Eastern Time, following a manual docking fly-in by Yuri Malenchenko, the Soyuz commander.
Yuri Ivanovich, do you have indicator mode? Indicator up. We confirm. We see indicator mode. Copy. And Yuri, we do not have any telemetry on our side. Could you please let us know what's going on with the docking and transfer system mechanism? Definitely, we will be monitoring it.
I'm Boss Enter 5. Goodbye.